Hi everybody. One sec now. Right. There we are. Approve. So, are we on? Wow! Yoo-hoo! I have never been so happy to see two people in my life.
Were you?
What's that?
Were you stressed?
Oh, do you know, I was doing, it's like waiting for lottery numbers to come up. I was just, oh, please let it be this week, please let it be this week. I'm delighted. So we got what we're doing. Will we go on?
Yeah. So basically we're going to do an amazing hair tutorial with the fabulous Pamela Morrissey from Sobe Brown. And we've got my beautiful assistant, my mother.
Like, Breda, you're the best sport. I swear to God, you're the best sport that there is. And you took it on the chin last week like a pro.
I love this. I love getting my hair done. So this is a treat, you know. I was excited about this, you know.
Well, I'm more excited to see your faces than anything, actually.
Yeah.
We're excited to be here. So Pam, we wanted to kind of, I suppose, use my mom as the model tonight because we wanted to talk about all anti-aging, like for anti-aging, hair treatments, styling, products you use. So if you could kind of, I suppose, talk us through what actually is anti-aging first for the hair.
Absolutely. So anti-aging, Grania, everyone knows what anti-aging is when it comes to the skin. You know, we know about Botox, we know about laser, we know about fillers, we know about all different types of peels. But when it comes to our hair, for some reason, we just don't even give it any attention. Well, I do, but people just don't seem to give it attention. You know, lots of people just pick things up and smell them and are really front of the bottle. Like, I've never bought a cream without actually putting it on my hand and asking about it. And you know, when I buy a cream for my face, I always want to know what's in it and how long it's going to take to work and is there too much perfume in it. I ask all these questions about my face, but when it comes to hair, people don't. And it's very simple actually. There's only really three very simple ways to anti-age your hair. And one is to seal it, two is the tone of it, and three is the density. So what I mean by sealing is when the hair shaft is opened. So like I'm always on about this, if you took one of your hairs and you put it under a microscope, what you'd see like a drinking straw, right? So it's like a drinking straw like this, and inside that drinking straw is really sensitive, right? Because it's holding together the inside of your hair. Inside that drinking straw, if you could imagine, Breda, with you now, what, like your natural color, besides this, your natural color probably was auburn when your hair was its full color. So
I say grey there.
There for the crack. So when Breda had her hair in full tact, we'd say, right? Or like yours, Grania, yours is your mom's hair, actually, I'd say, is it?
Yeah.
Is that the color of you naturally, like back in the day?
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
So the same thing. So the drinking straw now, right? This is where we are. The drinking straw is see-through and it's full for you, Grania, you know, right? It's full of tiny auburn balloons, right? And they fill up the inside of the drinking straw. So we get to see them through the drinking straw. Now, because that's really, really sensitive, it has to be coated with something. So the cuticle protects it. The cuticle then we'll liken to roof slates, right? The cuticle has to be going over the drinking straw and it has to remain sealed all the time, right? So when we're born, if you look at a child's hair, it's super shiny because that cuticle is completely closed and undamaged. So as we get older, you'll see, you know, as you become 9, 10, 11, 12, you start tying up your hair more, playing with it more, plaiting it. The drinking straw the cuticle starts to open, and we liken that to like roof slates, right? They're see-through now as well. So we liken that to roof slates, and the roof slates start to lift as you get older. So again, then you start coloring it and they lift more, and sometimes when you start coloring it, they get burned away and like the roof slates get holy and broken and things like that. So if you think about this, the best way to take years off your hair is to get those roof slates completely sealed the way they were when you were 4 or 5. That's our aim. So everything that we do, should have that in mind, like how we treat our hair when we style it, how we dry it with a towel, how we comb our hair. Like for instance, if you're combing your hair, by combing your hair, like if my hair is full of knots now here, Brady, your hair is just out of a towel now. So if you were to catch your brush now and from here and do this, right, you'd be, and if your hair is knotty, if you were to do that, you'd be breaking apart, you know the way? You'd be breaking apart the knots. So you're ripping those roof slates again, and it's lifting it, which is what happens when you're kind of a teenager or you're coming from 12 to 13, you start to lose the shine. So do you understand that concept before we go any further?
So you're saying all the steps basically that you do, all the actions are what's sealing the hair and protecting it. So yeah.
Exactly. So, and then inside that drinking, so basically, Grania, there's two ways to age your hair, right? The first way is we can age our hair, like we can age our hair when we're 14, 15, 16, 21. Like aging hair very rarely has anything to do with a person's actual age, right? Like we force age on our hair, we make it tired and we make it older looking than our faces. And what we want to do tonight is give you a few tricks and tips to reverse that damage, right? And age it, take years off your hair. The other way to age your hair is the natural process. So Brita, you'd know about that with the white, you know. So what would have happened with your balloons, right, Brita? Hold on to your balloons now here. What would have happened with your balloons, Brita? Inside your hair would have been full of auburn balloons when you were like 25, right? Full of auburn balloons inside that drinking straw. And as you get older, like the way our skin gets thinner, the hair gets a little bit thinner, and that drinking straw gets thinner, and those balloons start to evaporate. And that cuticle, those roof slates naturally lift because the hair is getting thinner and thinner. And the reason white hair is much coarser. Do you find, Brita, that your white hair is much tougher than what your natural hair was?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
The inside of it is empty because the balloons have evaporated. You know what I mean? Your auburn balloons now are gone, so there's nothing left on the inside. So the hair has to create its own shell to stay strong and not break off. So that's why it becomes resistant and unruly and unmanageable. So that's the natural aging process. And then when you mix the both together, we'll say, so Brita, now Brita, I know you take fantastic condition of your hair. So we'll talk about someone that doesn't, we'll say, right? So someone that has naturally aged hair, right? So they're coming up into their 50s, coming up to their 60s maybe, and they're over coloring it, over processing it, over heat styling it, not managing it well, not using good conditioners and shampoos and things like that. Could you imagine how many years they're actually putting onto their hair, as well as the natural aging process? So it's a micro that no one has actually, where like this is the exact same thing that happens to our skin, and we delve into it when it comes to our skin. Like there's not a question I won't ask when it comes to my skin, but we just don't ask enough questions about the aging process of the hair. And like I said, it's very rarely to do with actual age. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I have to say, Pam, that picture of the straw and it being empty inside is fabulous. I never thought of the hair shaft like that before.
Exactly.
And it's actually a whole new thing about minding it more now, you know, because you're more aware of the fragility of it.
I have an image of you with deflated balloons. With the whole
Give back your balloons.
I've lost my balloons.
No, back your balloons. You see, you can buy new balloons, so it's fine.
Are we still on right here?
We're still on. So come here. So we'll the first thing is, right, and the first thing was we'll talk about how to handle your hair, right? How to manage it and how to be gentle and handle it yourself. And now I know, Brita, you're very good at blow drying your hair as well. Just so everyone knows, Brita's a client of mine, and I know how much care she takes of her hair. So you're the perfect candidate actually to demonstrate on what to do to be gentle and to stop the ears going onto your hair. So the first thing is, when you shampoo your hair, actually we'll go even more basic than that. Before you get into the shower, one of the most important things you can do is brush your hair before you get in, right? So what you don't want to do is get into the shower with, like loads of people don't brush their hair for 2 or 3 days. They try to hold on to the blow dry so they don't brush it. So you get into the shower with a lot of knotting, right? And then you shampoo on top of it, and you're creating more knots, more tension in the hair, and the knotting is getting tighter and tighter. And if your hair is dehydrated, that's really bedding in those knots then, right? So number one is brush your hair every day if you can. And what you'll do on dry hair, even if you're trying to save a blow dry, and what you'll do is you'll get a wide brush like this. So this brush, like I was on about this as well last week, I think. This moves, right? So this brush moves, and it's not a hard plastic, so it doesn't rip the knotting away, right? So every day you'd carry something like this around in your handbag. It's really light. This is a magic hairbrush, you know, Lorraine Keane's magic hairbrush.
Yeah.
I do a blow dry on her own hair with this the last lockdown, and I blow dried Lorraine's hair a few times, and her hair is not easy to manage. And I saw her do a whole blow dry with this in her hair, and I thought, I'm getting those things there, and they're brilliant. So again, right, what you're doing before you get into the shower is you're holding on to the end of your hair there, no matter how short it is, and just tip at it like this. And then you're going to work your way up. Exactly. And work your way up again. So you're never actually catching the whole lot of it and pulling it, because if my hair was knotted now, right, and I cut the whole lot of it and I pulled it, I'm only gathering all the knots there in the middle, and they have to be ripped out. So you always start from the ends up, and then you're getting into the shower then with knot-free hair, right? How you shampoo your hair then is another story. So a dollop of shampoo about the size of a €2 coin, right? Your hair is saturated wet now at this point, and maybe you've squeezed the excess wet water out of it. And a dollop of shampoo through the fingertips like this, and using only your fingertips to gather it, you're going into the scalp. Now, the way you shampoo your hair is the scalp. It's never this look, right? Because that's the first thing everyone does. It's most people going, yeah, you're not on your own. And you know what? If I'm not mindful in the shower, is something that I do myself. So fingertips into the scalp, like as if you're oiling your scalp, and circular motions like this, right, the whole way around. And you'll still have a bit of goop left in the middle of your hand, and you catch it again, and you'll go in around. And at this point now, you're going to feel that you are not actually getting the shampoo everywhere, that it's not enough, right? That's grand. You're going to put a bit of water on it and massage it again, and then rinse it and repeat the process again, because the second process is where you really get the oil and the dirt and the grime out of the hair. But again, it's all about the scalp. It's never about the hair. The foam that you've created from the scalp here is going to pour on through the rest. And get this now, remember our roof slates? So it's going to pour through, and it's going to pour down and rinse those roof slates off, again, going in the one direction. So I'm bearing in mind now the whole time that I want my hair to remain young. I want it, like, you know, the way we've got Botox now for our skin and all this kind of stuff, right? It's making it tight. Like, the whole thing is, I want my skin tight and shiny and flawless. The way you get your hair tight and shiny and flawless is to keep those roof slates going in the one direction all the time. Keep that cuticle sealed and closed. So by me shampooing it like this, I'm ripping the cuticle open the whole time. Whereas if I'm massaging it like this and then rinsing the water through, I'm rinsing the first shampoo, and you see now why the second shampoo is so important. The second shampoo does all the work, but that gives the rest of the hair a nice freshen up. This only needs a freshen up. This is where it needs a wash. Do you know what I mean? So shampoo, the conditioner then is the other thing, right? Again, squeeze your hair out, a €2 size coin through the hands like this. Like when you use conditioner, a lot of people do this now, right? They get the whole thing and they gulp it on here, and then they try to spread it from a gulp on here. I see you laughing there, Brita. It's something you're accustomed to. Yeah. Everyone does it. You just see the gulp and you go put it on there, and you start to try to spread it then in panic and you get it through the hair. So how you're going to apply conditioner is, again, a €2, or I was going to say a €3 coin size. Are they around? No, a €3 coin. So a double €2. So Grania, for your hair, a double €2 coin size, and Brita, for your hair, a €2 coin size, right? Actually, you're perfect to work with here now, because you're the exact difference. So again, it'll be right here. Yeah. I might as well show you. It'll be right here. What do we use now here? Anyway, so we'll use the invisible oil conditioner. So through here, now that much for you, Breda, and a bit double that then for you, Grania. And what we want is not to do this. We're going to do this. Through
right.
you can feel it like moisturizer, and then you're going to pull it through the ends of your hair like this. Again, like the brush, working from the ends up, keeping those roof slates sealed the whole time. Keep that in your head. And when you get to about there, that's enough. Don't even worry about it then after that, because your scalp produces enough oil to moisturize your root, and especially the root area that isn't colored. So if your hair is heavily highlighted, well then I'd say get right up there, not onto the scalp, but get right up there to the root. But if you have got your own natural root color here, use your oil on your scalp will moisturize the root, so don't worry about that. So you're going to go from the ends, seal the roof slate, pulling through all the way up. Leave it sit for a minute, and no combing through or anything like that, because you've done that. Leave that for a minute or two. If like this says leave for 3 minutes, leave for 3 minutes if you want, and then rinse thoroughly from the scalp down. Keep the water nice and warm, and from the scalp down, you're going to start combing it out of the hair again, like this, keeping the roof slates closed. So again, I'm bearing in mind, I want those roof slates going in the one direction the whole time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah?
Yeah. Would you leave it on for long, Pam?
I'd leave it on. I'd always leave my conditioner on for about 3 minutes. Like shave your legs, do your bit of exfoliation or whatever, and or your bit of Veet, and then rinse it off. I have a funny story. I actually have a friend in America. I was only talking to Paul about this last week. I have a friend in America who got her Veet and her conditioner mixed up. So while she was after getting her conditioner, yeah, and while she put her conditioner on her hair and straight away went for her Veet. But she needs glasses, so she started to put her Veet on her legs. Didn't she get them confused until she realized her head was getting hot? All her hair came away. So your Veet somewhere else. Do not keep your Veet in the shower is the lesson to be learned there. Could you imagine? So then the towel dry then is another thing, right? So again, you've shampooed your hair, you've conditioned it really well. Now you're going to start to towel dry it. What you don't do is catch it and do this. Again, that's lifting the shaft, it's lifting the roof slates. What you want to do is you're squeezing the whole time like this, squeezing and patting and squeezing and patting and squeezing. And again, downward motions with the roof slates. Do you understand?
Right. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question there, Pam? Just to recap. So you brush your hair before you go into the shower. You should brush your hair, but you know when you actually wash your hair, should you have your middle parting? Should you have your hair parted the way, or can it be all slicked back? Does it matter?
Just once, Grania, if you just once the roof slates are going in the one direction, once your hair is sitting in the shape of your cuticle, you know, everything should be going down with gravity. So this won't make a difference actually. So whether you have it in its part or not won't make a difference.
And what do you think of those scalp tools as well? What are your thoughts on it?
They're great. They're exactly what I'm talking about there now. So I'm demonstrating with my fingertips here, right? But actually, they do that job for you so that you can move around. And scalp stimulation is fantastic for hair loss, or you know, for thinning hair and things like that. It's all about stimulation. So the more stimulation that you can give your scalp, the better. And those massagers are fantastic, actually. I was trying to get
today, and I thought they were fantastic, but I didn't know what it was doing, what the benefits were. So it's excellent stimulation.
So Pam, just as you say that must be great for, you know, sometimes when women go through the menopause, they can often get thinning of the hair, you know.
That's a great question, Rita. The thinning of the hair comes from lack of circulation. So all hair loss comes from the lack of circulation. For some reason, whether it's medical or stress or whatever it is, it comes from the lack of circulation in the body. And the top of the scalp is the hardest for the blood to get to. So when your hormones go all over the place and your estrogen drops and all these kind of things, I won't get medical now here because I'll get killed, but I know what I know only for myself and my own research. When hormones in your body drop, some of those hormones are responsible for circulation and keeping the blood pumping around your head and your scalp and everywhere all over your body, which is kind of like what a hot flush is. A hot flush is actually Mother Nature's gift, because a hot flush, while they're really, really, they look really uncomfortable. I haven't got there yet, but while they look really uncomfortable, they are Mother Nature's answer to getting the blood circulating around your body. So if you didn't get them, you'd have very little circulation. So the way you can counteract the thinning up here is, say from 40 on, start to stimulate that blood flow yourself. You know what I mean? So that hair tool, that, you know, that scalp massager, any bit of exercise, anything that gets you hot, anything that gives you a sweat, food, even hot foods, even if you're sitting watching the TV, getting your scalp going like that, getting the circulation in your scalp, that'll draw the blood to the surface, and that's amazing for holding onto the hair. So when the hair grows out of the scalp, right, when it grows out of the follicle, it needs circulation. It's like watering the garden. So if you had a load of flowers planted out in the garden, and if it was a hot summer and you didn't bother watering it, should they die off? You know, they'd dry up and they'd die off. The same, the blood, the scalp is very important, because that's where our bed is for our hair. So the scalp needs to be watered, and it needs blood for the bed to remain healthy, so the hair can remain healthy. And then the root is held on to nice and tight and firm. But the minute there's no blood there, everything dries up and loosens, and it lets go, and out comes the hair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
And Pam, just while we're on the topic of shampoo and conditioner, can you tell me what is the difference between, say, salon products versus supermarket products? You know, cheaper products. I don't know what's what, so I'd love to know more about that.
So it's really to do with the pH balance more than anything. So the perfect pH balance is water, we'll say, and it's us, and it's our tears, and it's everything. And it's a pH balance of 7, Grania, right? So most shampoos that you buy on the shelf are 7, which is grand, which means it is alkaline, right? But our hair is acidic. So we need something a little bit more acidic. So we don't need a perfect balance, a perfect pH balance. We need it to come down a bit. So while the supermarket are going on the pH balance of water, thinking that, oh, that's great, sure, that's very natural, sure, I get that. It's actually, when something is too alkaline, again, it can interfere with the hair shaft, and it can lift the hair shaft. So drying it out, and again, absorbing light and not reflecting light, so aging the hair. So what we want is a shampoo that is kind of like 5.5 is perfect for the scalp. So anything from 4.5 to 5.5, and that is almost all professional shampoos abide by that law, Grania. So we could, like, to be a professional shampoo, you have to remain respectful to the actual hair strand itself. Whereas supermarket, it's commercial. Do you know what I mean? They're doing what they need to do only to sell the product. And I suppose, I mean, you pick it up if you saw it's the pH balance of water, you'd go, brilliant, I'll take that. But actually, that's alkaline, and it's lifting the hair shaft, so it's aging it. So the difference, to answer your question, is that's the very difference. So when you buy a shampoo from a salon, it's always probably either a 4.5 up to a 5.5, which is spot on for the condition and the environment for the hair. It keeps that hair shaft sealed. And also, acidic. Your hair is acidic, so it doesn't fight with it.
And how often should we wash our hair throughout the week? Like, is there a specific amount of times that we should wash our hair?
It's very individual, actually. Now, I wash my hair every single day just because it's a feeling that I like to have. And actually, my scalp is oily, so I work out a lot, so I sweat a lot. So I have an oily scalp and I sweat. So I have to wash my hair every day, because I'd look just chronic otherwise. And especially being in the salon, you know, you kind of have to. But in general, if your hair is not very oily, I'd say probably every 2 to 3 days is more than enough, once you shampoo it twice. So if you don't shampoo your hair twice, it's the same as your skin now here, right? So I liken your hair to your skin all the time. We've got a consultation form in the salon, and it's all about, like, trying to get clients to think about their hair the exact same way they think about their skin. So what was I saying there? I'm actually getting carried away.
You were on about how often you wash your hair.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Scalp or
I ran away with my own thoughts there. So every 2 to 3 days is more than enough, right? And wash your hair twice. So again, like the skin, I was saying, your scalp needs to get rid of dead skin cells for it to breathe and grow again. You know, it needs oxygen and it needs so for instance, Grania, right, if you didn't wash your face properly tonight, if you gave it a splash of water and maybe a splash of face wash and dusted it off or whatever and put on your moisturizer and went into bed, and if you did that tomorrow night then as well, sure, your skin would be getting no good from any products that you're using or anything like that, and it would get duller and duller and drier because so the scalp is the exact same. So every 2 to 3 days you're going to wash your hair twice. Lather, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat, and that's how you get rid of all the dead skin cells from your hair. That's and that's how often you should wash your hair.
And you know what I thought, Pam? I actually thought it was bad. I was always taught it's bad to wash your hair every single day, but I would have oily hair as well. But I always rock the oiliness because I'm like, oh, I'll get in trouble if I wash it too much, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, and everyone does. And like I said, Grania, right, if you were using something that was too alkaline, right, if you were using a shampoo that you just grabbed and didn't even pay attention to, you'd see a difference, right? And you'd see your scalp would get a little bit drier and your hair would get a little bit drier, and them roof slates, that cuticle would lift. But if you're using the right shampoo, you can wash your hair twice a day if you want. It's because it's not interfering with the natural pH balance of your scalp. The pH balance of your scalp is 5.5. So if you're using a shampoo between 4.5 and 5.5, you're not interfering with that at all. It's the same. Do you know what I mean? And again, with hair. So it all depends. You can shampoo your hair till the cows come home once you're using the correct shampoo. And conditioner, like I'll always say, people think conditioner is a priority over shampoo. Shampoo should be the #1 thing you spend money on, full stop. Before anything else, it should be your #1 styling product is a good shampoo. Because if you don't use a good shampoo, you're creating work. With the conditioner, conditioners go onto the hair and they do a job, but they don't damage anything. You know what I mean? Whereas the shampoo can actually damage because it's lifting things and it's pulling out your auburn balloons, Brita. Do you know, like it's actually going to pull out your auburn balloons. Yeah, hold on to those balloons. Whereas a conditioner goes in, a conditioner that doesn't suit you will go in and it might feel too heavy or it might not have done its job, but it won't take out your balloons. It won't damage your hair and it won't open your roof slates. Brita, you have a question?
What happens then with colored hair? You know, because I've been trying to spare washing my hair because I don't want to wash out the color.
You're right. Now, your hair probably isn't oily, is it?
Not too bad, no.
So I would say to you, again, with the right shampoo, it shouldn't interfere. It shouldn't be, it'll keep those, that cuticle sealed and it won't take out your color, your balloons. But I will say, just to be safe and just to be a little bit extra gentle, if you can spread it out another day, Brita, spread it out another day once it's not getting oily. But if you do have to wash it, again, once you're using the right shampoo, you've got Bumble and Bumble shampoo, haven't you?
Yes, yeah.
Brand. Like once you're using, that's a pH balance of between 4.5 in some and then 5.5 in others. So once you're using the right shampoo, you won't even have to worry about the color or anything like that. It won't fade.
Yeah. I'm just getting conscious of Mom's hair drying. So should we have product in it or something?
So have you got a bit of repair there, Brita, by any chance? The repair is this one. Brita, you're such a good student. You really are. Like, look at
that one, Pam.
Hello.
Okay, so what should she do?
Again,
because she must do more.
Are you liking the repair is like what you'd call moisturizer for your hair. So again, we'll go back to me comparing the hair to skin. With your skin, you'd have your cleanser toner, which is your shampoo and conditioner, we'll say, and then you'd have your moisturizer for your skin. This is the equivalent to your moisturizer. So what this is going to do is it's going to seal that shaft even more. Now, Brita, because you're not using a hot tool, this is enough heat protectant. There's heat protectant in this. So because you're not using a hot tool like a straightener or anything like that, this is enough on its own. But if you were using a straightener, I would say you definitely need a form of extra heat protectant in it as well, because this is quite light. So this is the Bumble and Bumble hairdresser's oil heat protectant. It's UV protectant and it's weatherproofed as well, so it's great. Now, this is the Bumble and Bumble repair. I'm all Bumble and Bumble now because that's my gig, like that's my song. But you can get these, like it doesn't have to be Bumble. what you'll do is you're looking for things like blow dry balms and things that will be called a sleek blow dry and things like that. They're what you call moisturizers for your hair, right? So again, about that much. And like any product, right, through the hands like this till you can't see it. And then you're going to use your hair as a towel from the ends up again, Breda, running it through like this. So all the way from the ends up, working it through the whole time, and especially around the front pieces where it would get most weathered. So through here like this. And that's that. And I didn't bring my thickening spray with me now, but I'd say if you want a bit of volume on the root, like I had a bit of mousse there last week, brilliant, well done. So the mousse, come here, you've got it all. See the mousse?
Which one?
The mousse, Grania, the one with the top on it. So you're going to get a dollop of that into your hand, Breda, only the size of a little small golf ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do the same thing now again. Pat it down until it goes to nothing. Into your fingertips, like what I said to do with the conditioner. Pat it down until it goes to nothing like this. And it's right into your fingertips. And then on your crown right here, Breda, I want you to massage it in circular sections to the area that I call the Pope's cap, right? So that's where the Pope wears his cap. And it's just around this area here. So massage it around there because that's the only place you want volume. And then what you're going to do then, once you've that done, is exactly, well done.
Do you not want it in your fronts, Pam? Would you
Yeah,
not want it there?
actually, a tiny bit down to the front if you want a bit of volume there. But Grania, the best and only place really you want a lot of volume is in that circle there. I want all my hair to fall from that. And with the rest of it, see, you can put volume into the rest of it later with texture sprays or even give it a blast of a blow dry. But if you don't get volume in the crown here at the start when the hair is damp or wet, it flat. You know what I mean? So if you let your, so a good tip actually for anyone that lets their hair dry naturally is make sure you get the Pope's cap nice and full first and then let it dry naturally, because if that dries flat into the scalp, it's very hard to get it lifted.
Yeah, I love letting my hair dry naturally, so I'm going to use that tip now because I have a pancake head. Like my hair is always so flat.
And as well, that'll make it oilier, Grania. You know what I mean? So if your hair is sitting on your scalp, it's drinking up the oil that's coming off your scalp. So you'll get it out of your hair if you had a bit more volume up around here. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, Breda, are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
So you're going to get your dryer and you're going to turn it on. And I'll just demonstrate first of all now what you're going to do around the Pope's cap area here. You're going to give yourself a good blast off like this, right? Now, do you see the way? Now, what I'm not doing, I'm just going to show you what not to do, right? What you're not going to do is that. You're going to target the area itself. So you're going to flip the hair over and you're going to get right into the roots. See what I mean? Yeah. Right in. Well done. Keep the hands moving the whole time. Great. Great. Yeah.
Okay, maybe turn it off now.
Brilliant. Can you feel the volume coming out there now? So the product, right, is probably going a little bit hard, and that's what you want because the rubbing is breaking the product up then into a fiber, and that's where the fatness comes from in the hair. So what you want is to feel that bit of hardness and then shuffle through it, and then the hair gets kind of fat because that product in particular, the thickening, so that goes fat, and the minute you rub that, it disintegrates into a fiber, and that's where you get the lovely fat roots.
Okay, I think I need to do a little bit there. Yeah.
Okay.
There now. Well done. Well done. That's perfect. So I can see there you've got a good bit of root lift, right? And once you've that done, then you'll feel the rest of it is probably air dried, Breda, as it starts drying out a little bit. So before you go styling your hair, right, with a hairbrush or a hairdryer and thing, you want it to be kind of like 85 to 90% dry. So never soaking wet, because if you're going to dry your hair from soaking wet, it's almost like boiling it. You know, all you're doing is boiling the water that's on the hair before you ever get to style it. So, and it takes longer, so you're going to be styling your hair for longer. So the other thing then is this, right? So when you're holding the hairdryer with your hair, you want it to be going again in the same direction as the roof slates, right? Which is, I'm gonna there now. So again, do you see what I mean? What you don't want is to be doing that. So you want the hair to be going with the roof slates. The same now as if the wind came at the roof slates would lift, but if the wind was coming down on it, they would stay. So what you want is to seal those roof slates. So Rita, what I want you to do here now is get your dryer and
Can I use the versus brush? This one?
exactly.
Yeah.
Rita, well done. That looks amazing already. And I love your technique there. You're doing a great job at holding it together and, you know, moving over it. And I love the way you're elevating it. Like everything, it's funny because everything you're doing, I'm about to say, like, you know, like the way you're lifting it off the scalp as well, you're moving it up and around. That's actually, you're creating lovely volume and softness there. So well, keep going with the fringe part there now.
Yeah.
Well done, Breda. That looks amazing. You're a pro. You look good. You actually make me look good.
What I wanted to ask you, Pam, is I keep, because I've been watching you every time you're drying my hair, and you go this way and then you go back,
Exactly.
I still haven't quite managed this cow's lick here.
I see. Do you know what I call that now? The recession area, right? Because that's the part of the hair that it's like me. It's the part of the hair that's the thinnest, right? So what we want to frame that. So Breda, what I want you to do with that now is catch that piece of hair and get the hair dryer on like this. One sec now. Catch the piece of hair that's bugging you the most. You want that now to be coming across and framing like that, right? What you do is to be jumping back. So catch and pull it in the opposite direction and get right into it so you can really feel the hair, the heat on your scalp, and let it sit for a second. And then what you see that? Yeah. It just falls past then. So catch that piece of hair there now and put it over and make sure you can feel the heat on it. Exactly. What? Yeah, you get right in and hold the heat onto the scalp, but don't let it burn you. Okay. It feels fairly hot now, Pam. You've done the job, so I'd say, right? So pull it back now to where you want it. Do you see what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So that's after softening that a little bit there now. Do you see the difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
God, there's great volume in it.
Yeah, I know. Do you see that thickening mousse? Like I said, no, right? Like what you want with thickening products is you want them to go into the hair. Thickening products are like makeup, Grania, right? What you want is for them to go into the hair, do the job on the outside of the hair and not interfere with the inside of it and break up and create, like it's like mascara, it's like a fatness. So they go in and they only work on the outside, quite like the way mascara works on your eyelashes. So they sit on the outside. What a lot of thickening products do is they go into the inside of the hair and they stretch and swell the inside, which gives an instant feeling of thickness. Sorry about the dogs. Which gives an instant feeling of thickness, but it interferes with those balloons and the drinking straw and everything that we hold so dearly to turn back the time on our hair.
So Pam, I want fat hair just as much as she has fat hair now. But should I be using the same product for the volume as she is, even though our hair is of different age?
No, you should be using the same product, but like Breda will be probably using less of it. You will be using a little bit more. With those products, with the thickening products by Bumble, there's a thing called scaffolding hold, right? Whereas those fibers, you'll use more, Grania, because there's more weight in the end of your hair, right? So the same product use more, and you would probably spread it out a bit more than the Pope's cap as well, again because of the weight. But stick with the thickening mousse, you're going to stick to the root area only and don't put it on the ends of it. Use something like a thickening spray then for the ends of it, because that does the same thing. That the fibers go into the end of it and they don't weigh it down. And I'll just show you this, both of you as well. Again, the anti-aging trick here now with the fat hair, right, is the density. So like I said, one of the elements of your hair maturing and getting older is that it gets thinner and thinner. So by us thickening it, we're counteracting that look. Do you know what I mean? So there's three things. There's the seal and shine, there's the tone and the color, and there's the density, which is the thickness. So they're the three elements, and the element that we're dealing with here now is the density, the thickness. So this is called dry spun. Again, it's the thickening family by Bumble and Bumble, and this will release fibers now like mascara, right? And it sits into the hair and it gives it a scaffolding. Exactly. Is that it? Is there a spray on that? That's it. That's it. Breda, you're just brilliant. Like you could sell Bumble and Bumble from your bathroom.
Yeah. We were thinking in a side job.
Yeah, for sure. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to lift half of the hair up like this, right? And we're not spraying this like hairspray on it. We're spraying it in it because it's going to give us a scaffolding hold. So in it like this, look. And see that? Exactly. Lift the hair up and spray it into it. And I love the smell of this actually.
It's gorgeous.
So this is an amazing product if you want to tie your hair up as well, because it gives a texture. And what's fabulous about this is it reflects light. So you know, most texture products, they mattify the hair, whereas this does the opposite. Again, there's fibers, and these fibers reflect light, and they go in and sit in your hair rather than interfering with it. So there's another hack. There's another thing I was going to talk about there. So Breeze, how do you feel? How's your hair?
It's lovely. It's lovely. Yeah. It's lovely and volume, but more than anything, I appreciate understanding the hair itself and how to mind it. I think that's been the biggest thing I've learned tonight. Always watching you in the salon when you're drying my hair. And when you're putting something on, I want to know what's that. But I think understanding it tonight has really helped.
And I do think as well, I do think when mom does her hair, it takes about 10 years off her when she has this really healthy, fat head on her.
Like
no flattening the curve here.
But you know, like everything, isn't it true that when you understand something, you respect it? Like, you actually respect what you're doing with your hair now just because you have an understanding of it, and that is essential. Like, none of the products in the world would matter unless you have an understanding. I say that even about stylists. You could be the most award-winning stylist, but if you're not willing to understand the person sitting in front of you and their needs and their wants, all those awards don't matter. You have 100%. To understand. It's all about listening and respect, isn't it? To try and understand, like, and for me to try to give you the information to understand is a respect, and for you to understand it and actually act on it is a respect for your hair. That I wanted to talk about is something that I've discovered lately. Right? I haven't discovered it, but do you know coffee? So coffee is, I think coffee is brilliant for loads of reasons, because I don't even think I'd be social without it really in the morning. But coffee is really, really, it's great at everything really, but it has fantastic exfoliating in it. It has fantastic anti-inflammatory in it, and there's coffee now in loads of products. Like Bumble have a product there called Full Potential with caffeine in it, and it stimulates, again, it gets the blood flowing around the scalp, so it feeds the hair follicles, so the hair is coming out nice and healthy and strong, and it prevents hair loss. Another little trick, Grania, and I think you asked me a question during the week about your scalp.
Yeah.
Right? So the scalp is the bed of the whole thing. If your scalp isn't healthy, then your hair, it's at a loss straight away, because no matter what you do to it, if it doesn't have a healthy scalp to grow out of, it's going to age back on itself, and your hair will be duller and everything. It won't be lifted. It's not getting nourished the way it should. And when your scalp is nourished, it gives that natural root lift. So I've discovered, right, coffee grind. You know, coffee grind that you get from making the grind that's left over from coffee. So, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've discovered that that's a fantastic exfoliant, the coffee grind itself, right? So I, during the week, started to play around with it, and I made a fantastic scalp exfoliant with it. Now, I'm going to show you there now, right? So, see the coffee grind here? There's about a tablespoon of coffee grind, right? And what you do with this is you get an oil, be it an olive oil, or what I'm using here now is this one. This is ground. It's Peggy Crowley's ground, and it's just beautiful. It's a body and face oil. So I'm getting a few drops of oil. It can be any type of oil now, almond oil, olive oil. I just love this for the aromatic benefits to it. And then I'm going to massage it around like this till it becomes a paste, right? And I was going to demonstrate on my own hair, but I'd say it's going to be messy. So again, with your finger, see that? Will I just do it?
Do it.
I feel like I've jumped into an ocean of freezing cold water through the scalp.
And where are the people on?
What's that?
Where are the people on the sideline that are bullying you into the water? Peer pressure. Yeah.
Again.
Do it.
And what I've discovered is, especially when the hair is wet, you can get a real good exfoliation with that, right? And the benefits are unbelievable. So you're circling again in around the scalp, circling the whole time. And I'd even leave it sit for a minute or two to let the caffeine really draw the blood to the surface, because whether coffee is going into your body or on your body, it has the same benefits. It's still going to stimulate and draw the blood to the surface. And the grind is magnificent for giving it a good scrub. So you're really getting off the dead skin there from the hair. So get it right in around. Now, another thing it's great for is it will stain a little bit of grey hair. So last week we talked about the colour masks. Brita, how did you get on with the colour masks actually?
Great, Pam. I have them.
I still didn't put up the before and after. You did an amazing job, Grania. I'm going to put up the before and after there in the minute just so people can see it.
And there's the online article on RSVP Live website as well of the before and after if people want to check it out.
There, I don't know if I'll share that actually because people will be really interested in that because it made a magnificent difference. And again, it's one of the elements of taking years back off your hair, Brita, because again, you're putting tone into it, which is the colour. Like you're giving your hair back its natural colour. Coffee grind in my hair, I find it's great because it can stain the little bit of grey hair that I have at the side there. But also, if you were a brunette, you'd put it through, you'd let it rinse right through the whole lot, and it will stain the brunette. It's very good for shine and everything. The only thing is, I wouldn't put it through my blonde hair because it will probably stain it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But if you have any coffee grind left over, make an exfoliant for it. I've actually exfoliated my body with it. I've a big thing of it. You get it everywhere. Now we've got loads here, but you know, in any coffee shop, they'll give it to you. They're trying to get rid of it rather than dump it. If all else fails, it's fantastic for the garden, I think. I haven't tried that now yet, but it's fantastic.
It's great for cellulite, stretch marks, smoothing of the skin. So happy days, put it all over.
Happy days, it's free. And it works. It genuinely works. I mean, I used it a few times on my scalp now since the other day, and I can feel the freshness. And you know, it's nothing. It's completely natural. So it's a great one, really. I just think it's do you know, when you know more, you have to share more.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that as well. Just before you go, can you just quickly talk to us about the hype on Olaplex? I want to know about Olaplex and Smart Bond and what's the difference and why is it so popular?
Fantastic. Olaplex and Smart Bond are a revolution really when it comes to hair and hair colour, and especially highlighted people. So do you remember years ago you'd go to the salon and you get your hair coloured, right? And you get your hair highlighted in particular. And the hairdresser would nearly always say to you, your hair will be a bit dry now for a while after this, or, you know, don't wash it for a few days because it's going to be sensitive. What she was referring to is the damage that's being done, the damage that has to be done to lift the hair, because when we colour the hair, we're lifting colour out of those balloons, Brita. So those brown balloons in a brunette now, and the brunette wants to be blonde. So you're taking those balloons out, and those balloons are what are responsible for the feeling and the strength and the condition of our hair. So as we lighten our hair, especially when we're blonde, we're taking all that density, all that lovely fatness out. So those balloons are actually bonds, is what we technically call them. They're bonds, right? And they contain the color of your hair. There's bonds in between those balloons as well, and they keep those balloons together and keep them safe. So when we color the hair, we take those bonds that are gluing all those lovely balloons together, we take them out of the hair when we're coloring it, and we take the balloons out of the hair, and we take everything out of the hair. What Smart Bond and Olaplex do is they go in and they artificially pretend that they were the balloons that are there. They can't be the balloons because the balloons are gone, but they pretend and they act like balloons. So these bonds start to form together, and they they fill up the inside of that drinking straw, not with colour now this time, you've already coloured it, we'll say, but they fill up the inside of that drinking straw, again, keeping the density in place, stopping the hair from getting weak, stopping it from getting fragile. So it means that when I colour someone's hair, when I highlight someone's hair, I can send them out like they should, with healthy, blonde, shiny hair. And that in itself, Smart Bond and Olaplex are they're an anti-aging dream. They take years off the hair, and they give results like no other. So they're like an insurance for your hair color. So as I'm coloring your hair, I'm ensuring that it doesn't break.
And how often should we use Olaplex?
You should every time you highlight your, if you're a blonde, you'll use Olaplex or Smart Bond every time you colour it. But if you're a brunette or Brita, you might get away with now not using it every single time, because we're not taking anything out of your hair. We're putting, so when I cut your hair, Brita, what I'm doing is I'm putting stuff back into your hair, you know what I mean? But Grania, if I was highlighting your hair, I'm taking it out. So it's really important if you're getting your hair lightened to use it every time. It's just a shot. It's like that. And what we do is we put it into the color. You don't even know what's in there. And then there's a 15-minute treatment at the basin to seal it all in. But it's essential for blondes. It's essential if you want your hair to look like a healthy, good blonde. If you don't use it, there's a massive chance that your hair will be parched and dehydrated and snappable and all that kind of stuff. And there's worse than a dried out looking blonde. So there's not, when your hair is dry, your skin looks dry, everything looks dry, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more.
Grania, every time for you, and Breda, not so much every time for you, maybe every second time for you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
Girls, I feel like I'm on CNN News now and I dished the dirt.
I know, it was great. Thank you so much, Pam. We've learned so much.
It has been fabulous.
And Breda, you're an exceptional student. You really are. Thank you so much for your patience. And Grania, you're just magnificent anyway. Thank you so much. Grania.
Thanks a million, Pam.
Pleasure, girls, anytime. Take care.
Bye. Bye.